Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Fly Nubian. I better stop it. Fly Nubian Money, y'all. I get in trouble every time I say the. This is where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your what? Your money. Now, listen, today we are diving into a conversation that's stirring up a lot of emotion online. Y'all, a Black mama recently went viral after saying she will not let her son date Black girls. She said that after seeing what she called out of control behavior from young Black girls at a theme park, she made up in her mind that she does not want her son involved with them. Her comments sparked heated debates. Some say it's tough love, others say it's misplaced frustration, and many believe it's internalized hate. What do you think? Let me ask you guys while you're listening. Do you think it's misplaced frustration? Do you think it's internalized hate, or do you think it's tough love? All right, tough love, misplaced frustration, or internalized hate. What do you guys think? So today we're asking, what does it say about how we view ourselves as Black women and how we raise our sons and daughters to view one another? We're going to talk about self-image, parenting, and the impact of public statements like this one, and how Black women are not seen just by the world, but by our own community. Now, this is going to be a very, very intimate panel, and we have two of the dopest females on the planet. I mean, I love them both. First, we have Miss Nomalanga. She is marriage, motherhood, and money. And she also does pads for girls out in Botswana, the country of Botswana. What is there a city in Botswana? Is it just Botswana? Where are you at in Botswana?
Botswana is the country. I lived in the capital city of Gaborone, but I'm out and about now.
Okay, I love it. I love being out and about. And then we have Miss Black Hollywood, all the way from Hollywood, Tiara. She is the producer extraordinaire, a singer, also known as Carmen J, and just an all-around dope and amazing human being. Mm-hmm. And listen, both of these women have Black children. We are all Black. No matter what part of the diaspora we are in, we are all Black. We all share the same blood through our veins. So I want to ask the two of you, on the onset, before we even look at the video, your first reaction when you hear that a Black woman would say she doesn't want her Black son to date Black girls. Is this what is it? Internalized hatred? Is this what was the three things? Misplaced frustration, or was this tough love? Tough love, misplaced frustration, or internalized hate? What do you think, Noma?
I think the three are not mutually exclusive. Yeah. And I think that she may also have some ignorance, because there's too many different Black women to have one blanket statement and say, I don't want none of y'all, But at the same time, sometimes when you look at our statistics and you look at some of us, it can cause somebody to say, I don't want this. But again, that could come from ignorance. It's like looking at just one thing out of 100 and then basing your whole opinion on one thing.
Right. That's true. What about you, Miss Black Hollywood?
I'm always on the fence about stats and the stories that we're told. Again, like, I'm big on story, what we buy, how we're programmed. And I'm going to say it may be some internalized hate, but that's only because looking around, like Noma said, looking at the news, looking at the media, looking at people like sexy red. I don't know, just being disgusted. It might be a little bit of all of it, right? Being frustrated with those things being glorified, and maybe the young girls who are looking to sexy reds and Sukihanas and emulating that behavior and then seeing it out. Like it's I think it's all the things, but I'm gonna just say it's a little bit, it could be a little internalized too, because I mean she kind of ratchet too. So I don't know.
What?
I
Is
don't
she
know.
well, I want to see
When I
the
think
video.
now
Let's
we're
see.
talking through it, I'm like, what is it?
Let's see
Y'all
the
gonna tell
video.
me.
I want to see how ratchet this chick is. Let's take a look
Okay,
at the video.
let's do it.
I'm sorry, but my son will not be dating a black girl. He will not. Because yesterday we went to Six Flags, and when I tell you the pure level of disgust that I saw in these black girls that you independent queens are raising is purely disgusting and disturbing. I literally left early because my kids was looking like, what the hell is going on? And this is in the Bay Area, California. These girls, all of them unsupervised, in packs, unsupervised, no supervision, just running amok in the theme park. Multiple fucking fights break out, multiple. And I'm just like, okay, the police had to start patrolling the fucking park because these little bitches couldn't keep their hands to themselves. One little bitch about 12 years old talking about oh, fuck Jeremy, his small anyway, don't want to meet me. What do you mean it's small anyway? Girl, you are 12 to 13 years old. And then these other girls like, ooh, boo, boo, boo. And these dudes are like, y'all are hella chopped. Y'all are hella, it wasn't even the black boys. It was the girls. The girls was fighting, multiple fucking fights. Fucking parking lot shut down from fucking them little motherfuckers fighting. And then this white lady asked her not to talk like that. Her and her friends trying to fight the white lady. I'm like, just no self-respect, no fucking home training. And I see why, and I seen a lot of, when I seen the black boys that was with the white girls coupled up looking cute, I seen the Mexican kids, I seen the Asian, only ones outside acting a fucking ass was the black girls. And I'm specifically saying black girls. There was no black boys acting the ass. It was the black fucking girl. Oh, fuck that bitch, she bumped into me. You are 16 years old. Calm down. When I tell you, you bitches are raising little miniature fucking single fucking baby mamas, that's what the fuck y'all raising. Because them little motherfuckers don't respect themselves. They don't respect nobody else.
So she started off saying, you single queens, you independent queens or something. So basically she's saying these young girls were all raised by single black women. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I've heard black women say this. I've heard, because in California, they'll say, my friends' sons will say that they don't like black girls because black girls be wild and they this and they that. And I've heard my son, they know, y'all, my boys know not to say that shit around me. Like, it's a no. But I remember driving in the car with my son and his basketball team. And the little boy was saying he don't like black girls, and I had to stop and I had to check him. And he was like, my mom is cool with this. And I said, yo, mama is cool with this? And he was like, yeah, I mean, she don't trip. She knows how I feel. And it's just like I think one of the problems is these women don't have no knowledge of self. They don't have no understanding of who they are as queens to sit here and allow their sons. And, just being from California, that's why I'm so glad that I'm not there. You know what it is, Tiara. When you're in California, first of all, black boys, I never had black boys like me growing up. It was very rare. When I went to my my ex-husband's 10-year high school graduation, it was a bunch of black people. We were the only black couple. There was 2 black couples. Everybody else was mixed. No black men were with black women. That we just didn't. We were not the choice. We didn't have black. They either you have to be either mixed or you had to be Asian or Mexican or even white. We were last on the totem pole. So there's always already an issue, this great divide that we have between black boys and black girls. And yeah, we have issues with boys and girls, but for the adults to say this about black girls as if we are a monolith is crazy. And I'm always trying to correct these kids, these boys, especially when they used to talk like that. Now, they don't talk like that no more, but when we were in California, they certainly talked like that. But what do you think, Noma, about what this lady calling these girls little bitches and about how these young ladies were behaving? Is this something that you've seen?
So the first question, how do I feel about her saying it? She actually seems to be exactly what she's saying she doesn't want. I mean, she has a right to want something better for her sons, right? That's the way I'm looking at it. But she is embodying exactly. I mean, she was just profanity. She had her cleavage out. I saw a tattoo here. And I'll be honest, I'm all the way, on the conservative side. So I don't have tattoos, and you'll notice I don't ever cuss. Well, not in public, and certainly not on the show. And I never have. I'm never showing. So to me, she's exactly what she's saying her sons should stay away from. And and okay, I have to be really, really careful with this conversation. Before we got on the show, I sent Tiara a show that I did. I still have the show, but it's on hiatus. And the title of the show was Black Women Are Masculine or Manly and something. And it was my show, and I was interviewing an African-American woman from New Orleans. And she actually happens to be a friend. So she was saying, okay, I think that, like she says, I love Black women, I love us, but unfortunately, the majority of us are not marriage material. And then she broke it down, and she went really deep, and she described a lot of things, and she talked about what are the character's traits, why, and that's why I talked a little bit about statistics. Now, statistics overwhelmingly say that Black marriages don't work in America, right? And there's a reason for that. So it doesn't mean that you can take one paintbrush and paint all of us. You can't do that. But you do have to kind of pause and ask yourself, what is it? What is it? What is it? Before we all get into a conversation just being defensive. But I will say she's embodying to me exactly what she's saying her son should stay away from.
So you're basically saying all the things that she's saying about these little badass bitches talking shit. I just found out what the word chop meant the other day. Do you know what chopped means?
What does it mean, Constance?
It means ugly.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
You're beat. You're chopped. I got a little teenager right now. So she'd be.
Yeah. So she knows all the slang.
All the slang. I'd be like, oh, what's that?
So basically, Noma, you said basically she's saying she don't want her kids to like, and that's probably what was in the comments. I would imagine all the things that she says she don't want from that her boys to have is what she embodies or what she embraces, which is very funny. But I want to get your opinion, Tiara, when we come back from the break.
Okay.
Woo! It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So no.
Does your son like Black women?
No.
Mexican?
He like mixed women, mulattoes, whites, Mexican, everything but black. I've never seen him bring a full black girl home.
You never asked him why?
I've been happy he had.
Why?
He go have to whoop the bitch. You can't bring me black women today. His age group, you got to kick their ass.
Does your son?
This man, this man is the most ignorant ass, stupid ass motherfucker I've ever seen. And yes, I'm gonna curse Nomalanga because this the dumbass
Do
retarded.
you, boo?
It be Noma's face for me. She was
I
like,
just cannot stand him. And you know what? This guy used to be like, he's really a smart guy. This is an act that he does, and it's just like, it's, you know, it's kind of like when Tupac was in Juice and then he became the character after Juice. It's like he's becoming this idiot that he's pretending to be. But anyway, but I do, again, California, that's what we see. The guys don't like black girls, they like mixed girls. It's just kind of the thing. What do you think about her whole diatribe, Miss Black Hollywood?
yeah, I was conflicted. I heard some frustration. Like I said before, I heard some frustration. I heard some internal hate. I heard a little bit of all of it. And it just kind of, sometimes we can get caught up in the internet, and I know that the internet is not a real place, and we listen to this divisive language, and I think we adopt it. I think we embrace those things about one another, and then when the moment you go out into the real world and you see something that's reminiscent of something you saw on the internet, you like, see, look at them, those bees, and like all the cursing, and then after a while, it's like you said, it started out real mid, and then she just went somewhere else. And before it was like these MFers, and I was like, well, dang. When I look at my own daughter and I think about how amazing my daughter is, it's hard, and her friends, and kind of the circles that she's in, and the way I see a lot of little black girls with black dads, and I don't know. I just it just makes me feel like she is definitely pointing at a certain sector of the black community, because we do have a little bit of everything in our community. We have the ratchets, right? And we have the good girls. We have so I would just say that. I wouldn't get online and go on a tangent about this. I just think it's just the influence. It's more of what we're seeing on the internet that's influencing people to then adopt all of this.
I'll say this. You notice she's in the Bay. I'm from the Bay. So this is not uncommon. And I've seen these little disrespectful ass girls and disrespectful ass boys. This is how these kids were raised. And when my kids were there, they were probably of the mind that, oh, it's okay. I want to date, who I want to date. I want to love who I want to love. My son, he went to a prom with a little Mexican girl. And now that we are on the East Coast and things are different, I don't see my boys looking at nothing other than black girls. Mm-hmm. I don't see, even like, in college, they seeing all these beautiful queens and they're seeing all these black girls who are doing the damn thing. It is not even a question. When they were in California, they like everything under the sun, maybe some black girls too, mostly mixed. Now they like black girls. Even my son in high school, black girls, just straight up, pretty black girls, but black girls, not mixed girls, black girls. And I love that for them. And I just think, I don't know if I just see a difference in mindset of where I am over here on the East Coast and sort of how it is on the West Coast. There's a lot of self-hatred in on the West Coast. That's how I was raised. I know all about it. Here, there's a lot more black pride. There's a lot more, there's a lot more just black excellence. And so we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, you might don't all black girls ain't ratchet. You just happen to be around some ratchet ass people. And maybe your socioeconomic status, because maybe that's what you're around, because that's what you could afford. Let's take a look at the next video and dig a little bit more deep into this.
How would you react if your oldest wouldn't dare date black women? I would applaud him. I used to be one of those people that wanted my kids to date black women, but after seeing how hateful many of them are, not all, but many, it would not offend me if my child chose to not date a black woman. I used to think black men who don't date black women hate their mamas. But now I realize some black women, just gotta leave them where they at. I feel like whoever my children choose to date, I'm okay with it at this point.
What do you think, Noma?
Oh Lord!
I got Noma in the chokehold today with these videos.
Is it self-hatred? Is it self-hatred for
No, it's not self-hatred. It's because I've been in the social commentary space for I think like since 2010, so 15 years, and I've been not primarily, exclusively coaching Black women. Okay, only, and it got to some times where I just said I'm not doing this anymore, because sometimes you'll be loving people and caring about people and wanting better for them, but they don't want it for themselves. You'll be correcting people, telling them how things should be, and they want to argue with you and wear you out. Okay. So I can understand somebody saying, not all, but many. I've had that experience. It's not all, but many. It even got to the point where I stepped back because people will say, well, you're not even a real, African American. You from Africa, you booty scratching monkey. I mean, it was a lot, right? I got a lot.
Scratcher?
Yep. But it didn't bother me after a while because I got a thick skin. But I have two beautiful children. My daughter's at Howard. My son lives in the Boston area. They are as African American can be. They were born and raised in America. But at the same time, I have a balance because I was born and raised in an African country in Botswana. So I can see the two different cultures and what's different. And that's why I say, I heard Tiara say she doesn't like statistics, but the fact of the matter is when I was like, if I'm in Botswana, I look around, all my aunts, cousins, everybody's married. And their mother's married and their grandmother's, everybody's just kind of married, right? Not everybody 100%. When I'm in America, I did carve out a very good group of people that we had common values. But when I looked around, that wasn't the case. Family values were not that common. People used to look at me like I was crazy. They used to say I'm stuck in the 50s. It was all kinds of stuff, or say that the things I'm saying are not realistic, or that is stupid, or too much arguing. But then I would always say, but look at your results. Where are you? Is this where you want to be? No, but you can't. And was just that back and forth of you're saying that the results you're living with right now are not what you want. I'm offering a different perspective, and you're arguing with the different perspective. So what are we gonna do?
But here's the thing, because I see you putting it a lot on the laps of Black women. There's a dysfunction amongst Black families, Black men and Black women.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
not just one-sided thing. We just have a lot of dysfunction just based upon where we stand in America. Black women oftentimes get a lot of the flack. I will say, and it's something that people often say, Black women are the most unprotected people in America. And we take the brunt of the beating. You look at other races, you don't see any other races talking down about their Black women like Black men do.
Or even about themselves. She's
Yeah.
talking about herself. She's literally
Right.
talking about herself and talking down to herself.
Absolutely.
You don't see that with and you don't see other men in other cultures saying they wouldn't want to be with women in their own culture. But
Absolutely.
let's get over that part. Let's ask ourselves why. See, let's get over the part that they're saying it. Let's ask ourselves why.
There's
White
many.
supremacy. White supremacy. Go ahead.
And that is a part of it, yes. And I mean, there's so many layers. It's so disingenuous to try and just throw out a few. Well, you're so ratchet, or you're a baby mama, or you were raised. That's so disingenuous. It shows a lack of ignorance and a lack of understanding. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, if you see a problem, you should not just focus on you're pointing at my problem. No, let's talk about what it is that you're responding to. What is the cause? How can we get over it? How can we be better? And that's my work. That's my work. If somebody's open to listening to what I have to offer, I can talk you through the process of, I remember there's this man, I can't remember, he passed away. People said he was gay, and you put women on his show and he'd berate them and say, well, you're ugly and you're fat. Please say the name. Yes. Yes. I agreed with a lot of what he said. He was just a really unpleasant person, but I agreed with a lot of what he said. He was just really unkind and really unpleasant. But he would just get to it and say, look at you. Why do you think you deserve this and that? And look at that. You're not willing to improve yourself, but you want the best and all of this other stuff. And that's what I'm saying. I can only really work with people who are willing to just take the defenses back and just look at what outcomes do I want. Look at my situation right now.
You definitely, Nomalanga, got to get to the root cause. And so I feel like Black people in general have been experimented on throughout the duration of this country. We are our big science experiment. And it's something that even, Africans can't relate to because Africans haven't had the same experiences and been experimented on as African American or as Black people have in this country.
Not in the same way, but absolutely.
No, and I'm not saying that you can't speak on it. I'm just saying that our experience is much different than any other experience in this world.
Every other experience.
Yeah, just because by sheer of what we've gone through in this country. Now, not saying that other people haven't been brutalized and murdered and all these things, but there have been social experiments that have happened to Black people, just systematic things after things that we can really document and see why we are where we are. And so the disingenuousness would be for me is if you come in saying you do this wrong, you do this wrong, you do this wrong, without really understanding and having the framework.
Exactly.
Where they've been, why are we here? Let's go back to the root of the problem and then let's address it without judgment. But we'll talk more about it after the break.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming.
Black lady got on here and said she don't want her Black son to ever date Black women. My whole thing that's just really blowing me is the fact that you think you have any say in who your son is going to bring home or date. That be the problem, and this is what we be saying when we say boy moms, even though I don't like to generalize all boy moms, but the boy moms we be talking about, this is what we be talking about. This is exactly the recipe for you to be jealous of any girl he brings home, for you to be mean mugging, for you to be mad, for you to always start problems with his girlfriends. Like, it's already starting, and her son is in elementary school. Her excuse was because we're loud, we ghetto, the way we talk. My whole thing is, why are you generalizing all Black women like you're not a Black woman yourself? And then this racist white girl found her way to say how she doesn't want her son, her white son, Black women either, because of the video she made. And this is what we be talking about when we say the way that we tear our own people down is the reason why these other races have no problem being racist, have no problem tearing us down, have no problem with talking ish about what we be doing and what be going on in our community. We talk shit about our own people. And honestly, extremely embarrassing. Like, y'all don't be feeling embarrassed when y'all get up on here and y'all bash your own kind. She made a follow-up apology video saying,
we talk shit about our own people, and that's a problem. You know, when we talk about being on code, like, we really need to start taking pride in ourselves. And I think that is the narrative that we've been given about who we are. I think about when I was growing up, my parents are from the South, and even my mom was here a couple weeks ago, and she was watching fucking what's them was it Amos and Andy or something like that, the white the black face people. She said when they were growing up, they thought that they were really Black, but it was like or I would hear the jokes that they would say that and they were very racially biased against Black people. There was jokes that they heard white people say that they would take on, and they would they would laugh at it, or it would be, you know, black people so lazy jokes when we have, you know, and so in our minds, I'm growing up thinking black people are lazy when we have not only built this country, but we were domestic workers. We were doing all the jobs that nobody else wanted to do until the Hispanics came along and we've got a little education. But we've taken on these other talking points and we've adopted them, and now we've now that's who we are. Right. So we've become that. We've put that jacket on, and that's the result is this. Black men talk about black women talk about black men, red pill versus blue pill. I ain't marrying her. Black people are trash. All this negative self-talk. It didn't come from us. It ain't come from us, girl. Miss Black Hollywood, though, what you think about what she said? Because I'm with her. Well, the one thing I disagree with it, because I certainly have an opinion on what my, you know, I got 3 sons, on what I want my kids to do. If they can't use your comb, then don't bring them home. But they're going to end up doing what they want to do. I'm just like over here like this, but I'm grateful that I put them in a place where they see black beauty. And when I see them bringing the little chocolates home too, yes, get me a little chocolate grandbaby. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you know, I think representation matters. I mean, I talk about it working in the film industry a whole lot, how you know, how Jews kind of curved that that narrative that was about them 100 years ago by creating Hollywood, right? And the things that they would show and keep showing, the representation that they would keep. And now 100 years later, we can't even look at that group of people without thinking success, business, unity, and all of the things. So, I mean, that's why my name is Miss Black Hollywood. I was like, well, dang, just based off me reading that literature and me saying, like, what if we did that? What if the stories that we put out about ourselves were positive? What if the things that we saw were that of power and not of poverty and lack? Every time we turn around, it's like, but the statistics say, the thing about stats is like, you know, where'd you get them from? Like what? And I hear you, Noma, was saying like results, but it's like, it's so easy based on where you live, right? Constance is in DC right now, and she can go outside of her door and see, that can be her perspective. Rich black people, I can go outside in Chicago and see, depending on if I'm on the south side or the north side, see richer, get a perspective on what the world really is. I feel like algorithm is our reality, right? Depending on what's in your algorithm is what you believe. So I just don't know if I can hold on and embrace the, like Constance says, put on that jacket and say, this is absolutely what it is. And I just think we got to be really mindful of that. And then watch what we're putting out. Like we could have, and I love that we're not having a irresponsible conversation about this, instead of saying, yeah, because black women are crappy and whatever the narrative is, and just feeding into that red pill blue pill conversation. So I'm very proud of us for that, and I knew I wasn't going to have that as the producer, but you know what I'm saying? I think that what we're saying is important, making sure that there's balance, and that we're saying that just like there's the sexy reds of the world, there's also us. There's also women just like us, depending on what you're around and your surroundings. So I don't believe everything I hear. No, I don't believe every stat I read, because you can take 100 people and be like, according to statistics, 100% of black women are this.
and there's
You know, and that gives, that's algorithm vibe to me. Like that's not a real representation of who we are. And so I'm careful.
But also too, and I'm gonna let you talk, Noma, just what you said in terms of the conversation that we have to have, and these absolute conversations and these monolithic conversations and painting everyone with the same brush is not a good conversation. I love what Booker said. He said, the only way I talk about a black woman or a man is to build them up. And that's how we fight white supremacy. Because when we talk down and we adopt that same language that they have talked about us in, we are also speaking the truth of white supremacists. And so we got to debunk that. We got to make them out of a lie, and we got to start building ourselves up. I'm telling you, what you speak, it happens. Speak life, because your words are prophetic.
That's right.
The good things over our people, and you're going to see some transformation and some changes. Stop.
What do you say, Noma? What do you say, Noma?
I was gonna say the one of the main things that I said was that we deal with a lot of ignorance, and really it is about that myopic view. Like if you literally grew up in a ghetto and all you saw was some ghetto people, you might really draw that conclusion, like I don't want any of this, right? And then if you get more exposure, you're going to see that, oh, these people are ghetto, but there's these other people, and there's these, and there's these. And then you can start to ask yourself questions like, why are people in the ghetto acting like this? Then you might see that, oh, the ghettos are actually, again, another creation of white supremacy. You're going to see that people who are on drugs, you're going to see that whatever it is, you can literally go back and see that people sat in a room and said, you know what, if we can liquor them up, drug them up, devalue family, or whatever it is, I went through a whole list of things, then we got it, we can destroy them. And then you look 100, 200, 300, 400 years later, it works, right?
Absolutely.
But not for all of us, right? So that's the responsibility that we have. If you have exposure and you have knowledge and you have understanding of what's going on, it's your responsibility, right, to make sure that our conversations are balanced. I also, on one hand, I don't like when people say things, we just get defensive and just spend the whole day defending ourselves. That doesn't help us either.
Yes.
I also won't go to the other end of the spectrum where it's like, yeah, you're right, you right about them. No, that doesn't serve us either. There's a middle point where you can say, look, this is where we are. How do we get to where we want to be?
That part.
That's simple. That's coaching. You're here. Let's understand why you're here. If you're here, right? Do you want to be here? No. How did you get here? What can you do differently to get somewhere else? That's a more balanced conversation.
And that's a conversation that we all need to be having at all times. Being solution oriented. Stop talking about the negative stuff that we doing and the bad things, because we're doing far more great things than bad things. It's just that the magnifying glass is on the negative, and that's not fair to us. But we don't own the media, so that's what it is.
Can we also expose before we go to the next video? Can we also just talk about exposure to our children? One of the things that, like Constance says, I struggled with Lauren was her being accepted and not being accepted in the schools here, because she's a Black girl surrounded around a lot of white and Mexican children, and so she had a very hard time. So in 8th grade, we took her out completely and just put her around people that looked like her and just loved on her. Her father started taking her to Howard, which they're leaving today to go to homecoming and be in those environments around Black excellent people to give her perspective. And Lauren is such a different girl now that we went, just a different girl. The way she looks at her life, the way she looks at who she is, her perspective, even going back into a white school this year because she's going to a performing arts school. She's just a different girl. She's like, man, there's just not enough Black people here, but it's cool. I'm gonna get through it. Or that she's gravitated towards the excellent Black kids, or just like having that perspective. I want to go to Howard. We're in 9th grade. We got to start preparing for that, right? So I would just say to this I wish that mother would have gotten exposure to just know that, like, all girls don't twerk. All Black girls don't twerk, and all, have babies before at 14. I don't know, whatever perspective that, because people
stereotype.
The
word is stereotype.
Yes, thank you. Whatever stereotypes.
I'm glad that you said that, because I always try to raise my kids, no matter where we were, and give them a different perspective. Access and proximity is everything. And even if you are in the ghetto, get them out the ghetto. I remember talking to a group of young men. They were, it was this program called Fathers and Families. They were formerly incarcerated, and they had not been out of this certain section of Stockton, California. So when they finally took them to dinner 10 miles away in central Stockton at this restaurant, they didn't even know how to use a fork. They had only been in their neighborhoods at McDonald's, never been to a formal restaurant. And to think, my kids at Ruth Chris at 4 years old, ordering their own food, right? Giving them that experience. And even it doesn't even have to be Ruth Chris. It could be Olive Garden, but just giving them those different experiences. I always try to take, instead of taking my kids to amusement parks like this young lady did, I always took my kids to museums. We took them to the beach. We took them to the redwoods. We took them to see art. We tried to expose them to different things outside of video games and just the normal things. That way, because with my daughter, what I would always tell her, and I love this for her because she's not necessarily attracted to attractive boys, and I'd be like, I wouldn't date him. I like, I'm pretty vain. But she looks at, character first.
The content of the character.
Which is what I taught her. Right? I taught her to look at character.
I taught her that.
But I'm like, okay.
Think about your future babies though.
That part. But what I
funny.
teach them is if you hold yourself to a higher standard, that's what you're going to attract. And so your kids are not going to attract the twerkers if they hold themselves to a higher standard. But here's what I also seen too, is when I've heard Black people say, well, my kids, they real smart, so they only like white girls. I cringe. I melt in the corner when somebody told me that their kids are so smart that they can't date Black people. Like, we are just dumb. Like, their IQ is so high. I've heard somebody say that. Like, that is just the most asinine thing. Like, you are a self-hating Negro and don't even know. My son, when he was in 8th grade, he said my biggest thing that what did he say? The thing I fear the most in life is that I won't be successful. He told me that when he was in 8th grade. He was sitting in my office. He said, my biggest fear in life is that I won't be successful. It's because those standards, he wasn't that kid that said, my biggest fear is I ain't gonna make it to 21. That's not his reality. But it's because of that access and proximity that I had showed him was success. I impressed that upon him. And you don't even if you're in the ghetto, you can impress a certain standard upon your kids. Doesn't mean that they're not going to be attracted to Black kids, because there is other Black excellence that they can be attracted to.
That's right.
Here's a problem before we go.
Yeah.
See, we're queens at the Fly Nubian Queen Money show, and we've had the exposure. But I also find that there are people who haven't had enough exposure to know that their children need exposure. And then it just regenerates over and over and over, right? They've never been around anything but what they've seen, and they don't even know that they're in a jar, right? That they could get out of and go explore the world and do better for their children or whatever it is. They just know how to yell at their children and hope that that makes them better, tell them to go to school, even though schools, well, okay, I'm historically a homeschooler, so I hate schools and the way that they program children and program us. If you're in the American school system, it doesn't even matter if you're in an all-Black neighborhood. The system wasn't created for Black children. It was created for white kids. And if you tear it apart, you'll see that it's deeply ingrained in it to have you feeling and thinking that there's something wrong with you and that somebody else is better. So when you see that manifesting, you shouldn't be surprised, because it's deeply ingrained in everything. But like I said, I really came to realize, because one of the colleges I taught at was an urban community college. And that's when I realized that some people have really been in that environment for so long, and they only know people and their mother and their grandma. Everybody's been in that environment. They don't even know enough to know that, look, I gotta show my kids something different from what I'm getting. And lucky enough, when I got to that particular community college, I met amazing Black professors, and they weren't necessarily from there. And some of them were old enough to have been exposed to Martin Luther King times and all these other things. So they were so conscious about, let's find the Black kids and let's show them something. Let's create clubs for them. Let's educate them. Let's teach them to love themselves. But if we weren't there and if they weren't there, the cycle would have continued. If they've come to a community college, met a white professor who already thinks, well, you're here in a community college because you're so dumb and whatever, and let's just get through it and get you out of here. And then they go back into that community, and then their son or daughter goes into, it's like a cycle that just keeps going on. And sometimes people don't even know that they need to do better, and they need to expose their children to better.
Yo, you know what though? Here's the thing. Here's what I love. They
Yeah.
done fucked around and gave us the internet.
I
But we're
was
gonna talk
just
about that.
about to say
Megan,
that.
we're gonna talk about that when we come back from the break.
I was just about to say that. And I want to ask you a question, Noma, that somebody asked in the chat that I think is a very good question. Let's go to break.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
I do want to take a moment to apologize for my statements in my video earlier about how my son wouldn't date a Black girl. I do want to apologize about that because I didn't realize that people just accept the behaviors of Black girls that I find impulsive, I find disgusting, and I find disturbing. So I do want to take a moment to apologize for that. If that is the behaviors that you guys accept, then that is the behavior that you guys accept. And I should not be judging people for what they believe in. If you believe that they were okay in that behavior, then that is okay and that's what you accept. I mean, me personally, when I saw 4 girls trying to jump a white woman for her asking them not to say PUSSY and DICK in front of her kid, and they're like 5 and 7-year-old girls, I personally feel like that was wrong. But again, you guys said that that's kids being kids, and that is fine. I've gotten a lot of backlash, and you know what? At the end of the day, if that's the way y'all are raising y'all kids and y'all feel like y'all kids can act that way, I am not one to judge. And again, my words, when I was saying it, I was very upset because of what I saw. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that my son wouldn't date a Black girl. It's more or less like those type of Black girls I would steer my son away from. And yes, I do give him guidance, and his dad does give him guidance to not put up with disrespect. You know what I mean? If a girl is going to be loud and disrespectful and fighting and a hooligan and all this other stuff, you don't deal with those type of girls, like, at all. So again, I think that the way that I viewed this younger generation, I guess I didn't have a clear understanding of it. But now that you guys have told me in multiple videos that I was wrong for calling them BITCHs and saying that was wrong for calling them HOEs for basically talking about penises and, having sex and all this other stuff at 12 years old, I guess, I just wasn't aware that was okay in the community. You know what I mean? So I do apologize for that.
So she stopped being insulting, and offensive, and went to condescending with some kind of superiority.
Right.
Like,
what kind of backhanded
Negroes.
I didn't know you
guys thought that was okay. I didn't know that it was okay for them to be ratchet. Again,
just condescending.
There wasn't even an apology. Well, that wasn't an apology.
No, it wasn't.
I hope they ate her up.
They ate her up. They keep eating her up. That's why she got online and had to say something.
Well, shit, I hope they ate her up for that too, because that wasn't no goddamn apology. Yeah, like, okay, now you calling us stupid. No, that's not what we're saying. And the whole thing, ladies, is just that it's Black people are not a monolith. And I just find it so fascinating when she's not really backpedaling, because you kind of saying
no, she's not.
She did it in a condescending way, like Nomalanga said. But I think even Black people have to realize that we are not a monolith. Black people have to realize that we come from all walks of life. And I think that I remember when I was in high school, and I'm from San Jose again, and I remember I was at a SAT prep class. And the teacher, she had, because I had, Black people really a whole lot aren't going to HBCUs like there are out here. Black folks is going to HBCUs from the Midwest on to the East Coast, HBCUs. In California, yeah, some, but not as much as out here. So a lot of us aren't aware. And when this teacher was saying, I went to an HBCU, and you'll see all kind of Black people. You'll see rich, really ultra rich Black people. You'll see ultra poor Black people. You'll see middle class Black people. And from that time, that she was saying that, I was imagining this because I hadn't seen that. And to understand that a lot of Black people haven't seen what's outside of their purview. My son goes to Hampton and he goes to school with people who own banks.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to school with people who, you know, parents are doctors and lawyers and own islands. His first roommate also was homeless from New Orleans, who brought a gun out there. Like, it's the gamut. We are not a monolith. We are all the things. And so when you just say, just like when all the politicians that are saying, oh, Jasmine Crockett is cosplaying because she ain't from the hood. Why the fuck do we got to be from the hood? That is not everybody's story.
Right.
Oh, she can't to Black people because she's not from the hood. All Black people aren't from the hood. That's what pisses me off. And so even Black people adopt that. That's what we got to get away from, y'all.
That's what I'm saying, though. When we watch television, y'all, we get to see the gambit of white people. You get to see Breaking Bad. You get to see like white people doing all the things in Suits or whatever the show is that you love. You know that if you see a certain kind of white person, you're like, oh, that's trailer trash, cool, or oh, that's a rich Black. You get to see it, and I think when we're watching television, we see poverty. We see what Anonymous always say, I blame Tyler Perry and 50 Cent, right? Because think of the things. Let's think of the things that they make. Let's think of the things that they make. They have a certain message. You're gonna get a drug dealer and murder and all of that violence. You're gonna get street stuff with 50 Cent. You're gonna get whatever you get with Tyler Perry. I don't know what's going on, like all types of toxic relationship situations. And so those are the things that we have to eat on. Those are the most successful people that we have to kind of tell our stories. That's why storytelling is so important. And I think it's important for us to tell our stories and make sure that we're, you know, we are telling people where we're coming from. We're basically using our story to contribute to a narrative.
That's why we're in the best time in the history of the world, I think, is because we own our own media. We really can own our own media. We really can change the narrative of who we are and what we do. Yeah. They didn't fucked around, gave us the internet. We got YouTube, we got AI. So we can tell our own stories. We don't have to rely on them to tell our stories anymore. We can tell the truth. There was a question that you had for Nomalanga, though.
Yeah, I was about to say, and it fits right into this, right? So in Africa and in Botswana in particular, like, what is the vibe? Because we often hear that Africans don't like African Americans. There's this thing, like, we feel like you don't understand us. Y'all think that we you know, we're well, I don't know, you'll tell me what y'all think, but I think this is a good question, right? Noma, do many people in Africa view African American people in a negative way? Can you tell us about that, just based off of like television and then what we're talking about?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Let's bear in mind that I moved to America when I was only 19 years old. So I was more like a person who, when you ask them, what do Africans think, I wasn't sure, right? But having been here more now, it's actually, that's a myth. You're actually more likely to find Africans in America who view African Americans negatively. And that's also like a mixed bag, because African Americans also view Africans negatively, and then it's like a pushback. So it's like a constant, like, you trying to make me feel, I've heard a lot of African Americans say, you trying to make me feel like you're better than me. You think you're better than me and all this other stuff. And then you also get a lot of, you do get a lot of ignorance. I experienced it, where people think that we're, you know, living in a jungle, we're very primitive and all this other stuff. I've had educated Americans, I've had lots of Americans come to Botswana, and they're just shocked, like, whoa, wow, there's people with mansions and Range Rover, and their mind is just blown, right? Because again, it's the same thing. There was a single story created about Africans and for African Americans, and then there was also a single story created in the reverse, and then it's just the same thing. Then there's all this fighting. But like I said, I'm really lucky because some of my best friends were African Americans. I got to experience their culture and get to know them, and they got to experience mine and know mine. So we don't have all that nonsense about you think this or you're that. The reason why I think a lot of Africans will look at African Americans negatively is no matter how poor an African is or where they come from, they do have like very structured values. America is a very mixed pot. You don't even have to be looking at African Americans. You just have to be in America. Everything is just anything goes in America. If you're coming from a smaller, it just anything goes. And it can feel like, wow, I actually have some values and structure from where I come from. And you people are just, you see. So that can come off a bit snooty and judgmental, and you have that superiority complex. And if I was on the receiving end of that, I would also have a negative response. Like, no, you're not going to come in here to my country where you found me and make me feel like you're better than me. If you're so much better off where you were, why are you here?
Right.
See?
It goes back. It goes back to media, though. The reason why we have these perceptions of each other.
It does. It really does. It's like a programming that's designed for us not to understand each other and not like each other because it doesn't serve the bigger picture, right?
Yes.
But when white people go to Europe, they feel like they're going back to their roots. They'll say, I'm Italian American and I went to Italy for the summer and blah, blah, blah. And they're embracing, their roots. Whereas if I was an African American born here and I saw some dirty little village with some nasty looking people and somebody wanted to convince me that those are my roots, I would also be like, I'm okay, all right over here, right? So again, it still goes back to the ignorance and the lack of exposure.
And you
intentionally
think and look at how we have been this has been beaten and ingrained in us. When you talk about white, even Christianity, right? I heard my dad say, I'm so glad that we was brought over here as slaves, because just imagine we would have been in Africa worshiping, doing what they doing. And this is what was ingrained in us by white people.
Yes.
They are the source of all this shit. It all goes back to them. And so we have to take our power back. We got to start looking at, because I even heard somebody even on this show, who was that? They were saying, oh, there's a thing that we not going to support Africans. We not going to support Jamaicans. We only support Black people. I'm like, the fuck? No, we all Black. Don't start that separation. That is a trick of the enemy. And that's exactly what they want. Let's go to some stats real quick. Did you want to say something, Noma?
Yeah, I was just going to say, how do you tear apart like my kid? Their mom was born and raised in America, and their dad's roots go all the way back into slavery. So how do you then say he's African, so I hate him, or he's African American because I hate him? And that's what you'll find with a lot of African Americans. Some of them have Jamaican roots if they dig far enough, or it just doesn't even make sense to me to try and say I'm going to be on this side or that side, because collectively we are the same people.
What they got to understand is, if we are united, that is a force. We are a force.
Yes.
So the goal is to keep us divided.
Yeah.
Let's look at some stats. So in 2023, Pew Research study found that 42% of Black adults believe media portrayals of Black women are mostly negative, often emphasizing conflict, attitude, or aggression. And we can name many examples, reality TV shows. And the thing about it, and I know that you've worked on reality TV shows, Tiara. And so to me, I just think, just from a spectator, because they all go negative. When you remember R&B divas, it was supposed to be positive, and then they ended up they all end up going negative. And I think
they push them to be.
But I think hip hop was supposed to be a good show about love and hip hop. And when they got a taste of the storylines that were and people watched it. I mean,
but I think they would be surprised. People want to see. You remember when in the 80s, everything had a happy ending. There was a conflict on a sitcom. They hugged it out, and it felt good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick thing. I was prospected for a show. I think it was called, I eventually watched it actually go on TV. At the time, I was holding the title of Mrs. Botswana, and they wanted to create a show about beauty queens, grown women who are married, who are beauty queens, and then they made a reality show about it. But when the producers were calling me, they were asking me questions like, if somebody were to say something like this, what would you say? What would you do? Would you let
Yeah.
somebody, and I could just hear the questions, and I could hear that the more I answered about, like, I'm poised, I respect myself, the more I answered that way, the more I could tell they were just getting turned off. And they never called me back and invited me to be on the show. Now, the women who said, I would scratch her eyes out if they want that conflict. And that's who they look for. They literally didn't choose me because they didn't think that when I got on that show, I would act crazy. And that was a no-go for them. So they make them act that way.
Miss
In
Black,
addition,
you should come up with a reality show, with a positive reality show. I bet you would get some millions of views.
well, it's so funny. I started the Real Network because Deborah Lee came out when she was still CEO at BET and said, Black people don't want positive programming. We've tried it. It does not work. They prefer the things that what we're getting is Keisha Cole the way it is, right? Where you're watching Keisha Cole with her crackhead mama and them trying to figure it out, her fighting with her sister, and people stealing your mama's stealing your money. I don't know, right? So there's all of these things. But that's why I left reality TV, because it felt like, what are you contributing to? Like, what's the greater good here? People wanted fame. People wanted, honey, just tell me what to say so I can sell this merch on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the goal, to make money off y'all. And so to create these characters. And so if you don't get the storylines you want, you get them drunk. I feel like reality TV has single-handedly destroyed a part of the Black community. I won't say the whole Black community, but it's taught Black men and women, you don't know when you're being programmed that you're being programmed. You just know that when you're in a situation with somebody and you're quick tempered and you want to fight, you don't know that you just spent all night watching Love and Hip Hop and watching them fight and cuss each other out. You don't even know why you're doing it, right? It's almost like I had to stop listening to Lil Wayne because y'all, I'm from New Orleans. So I'd be driving down the street and then before I know it, I'm like shooting up the steering wheel because I'm rapping and shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's programming. It's a real thing. Like, it's a real thing. So those mantras and those things that we're digesting and really consuming and taking in, it's more than just food. You're feeding your spirit, and that those things are coming out in different ways. When you can't talk to your kids, you just scream at them. When you can't, you cussing at your kids, you calling your friend bitchs. It's a thing. And so I just couldn't contribute to that. I couldn't contribute to that.
That's why I stopped watching that, because I would feel my cortisol levels increasing.
It's
and I was like, why is this stressing me out?
Oh, so stressful.
Oh God. Who want to be all like getting they blood pressure and they heart palpitations up looking at Black women fight?
Girl.
Run's House was a good one. That was a good positive one.
We watched it. We loved Run's House.
T.I. and Tiny, I think that one was a good one. That was a positive one.
Loved it.
People say they're boring. People will say they're boring.
People will say
they're boring. I remember they used to say Tia and Tamara they're too weepy. They cry too much because they were soft, sweet women. Because they were not yelling at each other. They were like, oh, they're so boring. They're always crying. And I remember people saying that about them.
Yeah. It's a programming. And again, when I keep saying this, and I think this is what I'm going to keep saying. I'm going to keep reminding you all that the things you're taking in, real quick, and I know we got to go to stats and get out of here, but when I was in New Orleans, I went home for a couple weeks, and I was like just hanging around my family. And what I noticed is that I had a family member that watched a lot of reality TV, and they were so invested in like the lifestyles of other people. And it just was like, to me, I would go and just to connect, because it's like I go in there and watch I wouldn't go watch. Y'all know I can't watch reality TV anymore, but I would go sit on the bed and she'd be like, girl, can you believe that Jennifer did that to blah blah blah? Because that couldn't even be me. But like she was like invested. So that makes me concerned that, again, I was a part of that, like where people are caught up in other people's lives, and you're out of your own life. You're sitting on the sideline of your own life because you're so invested in people fighting. They were fighting.
Girl,
They were screaming
in
at
what world? In what real world are you fighting people? Like, in what
all
real
day.
world are you fighting?
We give those people alcohol.
But it starts to manifest though, because that lady who was talking all that trash was saying she's seeing it happen.
Yeah.
And just quickly, one of the things that you do is if you repeatedly expose people to something, it's called normalizing. So what's happening is what we are usually appalled by becomes normal. Yeah, it just becomes normal. So the next thing, you will find yourself punching another woman out because she stepped on your toe or she said something you didn't like, because that's all you've seen and it's kind of looks normal. There are people who have seen people killing each other, and again, that to them starts to be normal. There's just there's just certain things that
Black people is the biggest social experiment in the history of this world. Black people are the biggest social experiment. Let's look at some more stats.
You want some more stats? Okay.
Social media amplifies these stereotypes. Yep, research from the Brookings Institute found that negative videos or posts about Black women receive nearly double the engagement of neutral or positive content. Now, hold on really quick. I know we got to go, but think about this. When they have, I think it was the real estate show, the white one versus the Black one. The Black one had to have the controversy. The Black one had to have the fighting. The white one didn't. They do that on purpose.
Yeah.
They're not going to show them acting a fool like they going to show us. Every single reality show that we have, they going to show us in our worst light.
Because I think that's what we want.
We don't
I mean, if I'm being honest, and because we watch it, and I'm not, because I don't watch reality TV, I cannot watch it. But because you sit down and say, "Ooh, I can't wait to watch this show," those ratings are up, and then they continue. They say, "This is what Black people want to see."
Oh, it would be dope, KJ, to have a reality show set in the Hamptons or Martha's Vineyard. Ooh, I would love it. Ain't nobody in Martha's Vineyard fighting. I would love it.
You want your next step?
Okay. Experts say internalized racism and colorism. Ooh, let's talk about it. Continue to shape how some Black people view their own community, often linking behavior to stereotypes inside of a broader social or economic challenges.
You have been programmed, my love.
That's what it's happening. So, Noma, I want to ask you, and this is going to be your final thought. We're going to get out of here. What can we do to change the narrative of Black women, Black people, Black families, Black culture, Black legacy?
Do you need it in one sentence, or should I write the book?
I know you got the answer, baby.
Okay, so this is what I actually live. I love Black people. I really do. And I think if you know me, you know that. And I want us to do better and be better. I believe that the foundation of society is strong families. And I also believe that one of the most important things is unity. And that's including in families as well. If you have unity, you become unbreakable. That's something I've learned. When you get together, because the thing is, people who hate you unify with their hate against you. And the only way that you can push back is also to have unity amongst yourselves. But I can't stress enough, it's so important to have strong Black families. They insulate you from so much. Eventually, you won't even care what the so-called narrative is, because your narrative, what you see in front of you, is Black excellence. You see good fathers, you see good mothers, you're educated, you know that you live in neighborhoods that you can be proud of, not because you moved into a white neighborhood, but because you created a community and you created beautiful neighborhoods. That's something, I mean, I remember just quickly, we moved to a white neighborhood because the school was doing better. We regretted that. Because then our kids were the Black kids who were being treated awfully and looked at badly. And I realized that back then that, okay, look, you may be in a place where you don't really like, but it's up to you to create what you like where you are. And that applies to everything that you're exposed to. Like I said, this is a whole book, so I'll just stop here. My name is Nomalanga. You can find me on Facebook as Nomalanga Habaroni. I'm also on Instagram as Noma Moses. I also have my own YouTube channel under Nomalanga Sally Moses. And last thing is, please support us at passforourgirls.com. We started a charity in Botswana. I'm the founder of that charity, and it was to address period poverty, because we literally have some children that are so poor that they don't go to school when they're on their period because they don't have the supplies. A little bit goes a long way. even the littlest amount goes a long way. So we'd be happy if you go to passforourgirls.com and support us.
Perfect. Thank you. Passforourgirls.com. Get those little girls some Kotex, please. Please. A little bit goes a long way, y'all. All right, Miss Black Hollywood, what are your final thoughts? How do we change the narrative of Black women, Black men, Black culture, Black families, Black legacies?
Man, that is a very loaded question. I didn't think you was going to ask me the same question because Noma got all the answers. Right?
She
I
got
thought you was
the
going to
answers.
ask me
She
something
definitely
else.
Yes.
I would just say that representation matters. I'm gonna just, as a story girl, I'm gonna just say make sure that you expose your children and you allow them to create their own story, but give them all the pieces of the story to put together to make a healthy story for themselves, right? So expose them to those small things. I love what we were saying earlier about even if you can't get out, you can't afford to leave or your neighborhood or whatever, make sure that you are exposing them through the internet. You can go down a rabbit hole and on the internet and find other culture. I mean, sometimes I'll be in here watching TV and be like, ooh, what's happening in Saudi Arabia with the Muslim women and the and then learn something complete, like end up watching a documentary in a small country somewhere that I've never been with people I've never met. And I think it's so interesting. You can go down that same rabbit hole. Now I have a perspective on what happens in that country. And then I can draw my own conclusions like, dang, in Muslim countries, they do this and the women do that. And I'm grateful that maybe I'm like, dang, I wish this was like this in America. And I wish we did this. You know, you can have perspective is my point. So just make sure that you and your children are getting enough perspective, enough story that isn't just single and narrow and limited and negative. Just do that. Right. Yeah. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known.
Sorry, go ahead.
You were going to say something?
I said I propose that all you queens come to Botswana next year.
I've been talking about how I regretted not coming to
you.
Less.
We staying at your mansion, Nomalanga? We staying at the mansion?
Yes, my mansion.
We staying at the mansion. I think about that all the time, right? The queens invite me every, like I'd be like, every I feel like every month I'm being invited. Yesterday, Constance was like, wait a minute, you want to come?
DC.
Yeah, that's what she said just yesterday. Like Lala was trying to get me to Portugal last week. Like, so I I'm coming, but I don't mind that. I think that's it. Me and Lauren,
give us a date, sis. Give us a date.
Give us a date, right? So I think that it's important for us, y'all. I just think perspective is important for our outlook and how we make money and how we think globally and about ourselves and our business and our mindset, all of the things. So my name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood or Karma J, depending on the day. But today I am Miss Black Hollywood because we are going to Rise, right? So at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is our debut of the Rise Mastermind podcast. It's actually not going to be like on the YouTube or like a platform like this. It's a private masterclass. I do invite you to come in. Rise stands for real estate, insurance, stock market, and entrepreneurship. And what we're going to do, what we believe is that if you learn to master these principles, you will rise in your mindset, in your money, generationally, you lit, and culturally we will rise. So come and join me. Text RISE to 87948. That's RISE to 87948. Today it is going to be lit. I am going to teach you, well, I'm not. I'm just gonna moderate. But I got some people that's gonna show you how to rise, babe.
Boom. So boom. Go rise.
So bow.
Come
on through and rise.
7948. If y'all want to be a part of Rise in about 45 minutes, text Rise 7948. And you know what? Speaking of which, I'm actually doing a Friendsgiving for all of Net 7 Collective on December the 13th. It's in the Group Me Girl, December the 13th. I'm doing a Friendsgiving, and everybody's going to spend a night at my house. I just got to bring a little air mattress and spend a night.
Bring our own mattress?
I mean, where else you gonna sleep? I mean, it's cheaper than getting a hotel room. Just get your own, and just go to Walmart, get your little $99 air mattress, bring it over. I got plenty of blankets. You have somewhere to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's more fun when everybody's together.
Yeah, it'll be
It
fun.
is fun.
And
No. I was
Victoria
gonna say we can do old school and make little pallets and put them on the floor, but then
We
my
can do
back
that
hurts, so
too.
we can't do that.
Right. We let's get air mattresses. Victoria, who is the restaurateur of Victoria's Kitchen, she's going to be cooking for us. So if you ain't a part of Net 7 Collective, you need to be a part of Net 7 Collective. Anyway, I just want to say this. When my kids were little, I was very intentional about letting them know I'm the only one I got to get the solo view. What's up?
Well, because I don't like it, I don't do it.
Nomalanga didn't get the solo view.
Nomalanga solo view.
No, she didn't get the
say I don't want it.
She
It
don't
makes me
want
feel
it.
like there's a spotlight on me.
There is, which there should be. Do you want it or not?
I'll take it.
All right.
What I was saying is that when my kids were young, I was very intentional about making sure that I ingrained in them everything I could about Black history. We would get in the car and I'd be like, we about to go to the movies. They'd be like, oh, brother, what is another Black movie? Or I'd be like, kids, gather around. We're going to watch TV. Oh, what is it? Absolutely. It's another Black movie. And they rebelled. My kids rebelled. We tired of seeing all this Black stuff. But I can tell you right now, at 17, 19, 21, and 26, they are so much more aware of Black history. Now it piques their curiosity. Now they're telling me about Black history. Like I said, they done fucked around and gave us the internet. TikTok, they're learning. So they know more than me. They know random facts and everything else. And they're going to learn everything they can within the palm of their hands. The thing about it is I've instilled that. I planted that seed of giving them that curiosity of who we are as Black people. And now they've taken that amongst everything else that they're being exposed to. But now they have a curiosity about who they are and they really understand who they are and they value Black women. My sons did kind of adopt that, like, these Black girls ain't. And I said, well, what about your sister? There are girls that like you, but mom, everybody's not like you and my sister. But there are girls, they might be few and far between, but you can find one. And we just have to be really intentional about teaching our boys, but also women. Teach your girls how to be women. Set higher standards. Make sure that they don't, if they want a bottom feeder, they're gonna be a bottom feeder. If they want them dudes that ain't shit, them not being shit, they're gonna attract dudes that ain't shit. And it's just the law of reciprocity, right? So we just got to teach our children. We just got to be those people who teach our children standards. It's up to us. What we put out in the universe, we're going to actually get it back. That's what I believe. Where can you find me? Everywhere at I Am Constance Carter. I'm doing some really amazing things. Net 7 Collective, we have that. We have Net 7 Nation. We have chapters all over the world. Even in Africa, we got Africa chapters. Nomalanga, I think we have women in South Africa. We have women in
Wow.
Yeah, we have women in Europe. We have women in the islands. We have women all over the world.
You don't talk about you expanding Net 7 enough, Constance. Like you haven't talked about you actually taking Net 7 and making it a global movement. It is so important the next time, not right now, but like the next time.
I know.
Talk about that.
No time, but you know what? It's because I got so much going on. But we're doing some amazing things, and really, it's just about effectuating change in the lives of Black women all over the globe. And when you teach a woman, this is an African proverb, you teach a nation. And so that's why my target is really focused on teaching women, specifically Black women, because I believe that it's really going to change our culture, our legacy. And so that's my contribution to closing this wealth gap that we have. But anyway, follow me everywhere. I am Constance Carter. Go on my website, constancecarter.com. And I have all kind of good shit on there. If you want to work with me, go there. All right. Listen, I guess I'm closing it, huh? I am the closer.
Yeah, this is on you.
At the end of the day.
You lead.
At the end of the day, how we talk about our own community, it matters. Every time we publicly shame or generalize each other, especially as parents, we send a message to our children about who they are and who they should value. We can correct behavior without condemning identity. Ooh, I like that. We can love our people and still want better for them. The goal is to build and not break. Y'all were amazing. Botswana all the way out there. Nomalanga all the way out there in Botswana. My good girlfriend all the way out there in the West Coast. We doing it. We love y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Don't forget, in 40 minutes, text word RISE to 87948 and jump on this RISE panel to learn more about real estate, insurance,
stock market,
and entrepreneurship.
Rise, baby. Rise.
Rise up.
Out.
The girl that's going around saying that she don't want her sons to be with black women when they get older, I don't see nothing wrong with that. I don't even understand why every black woman is upset and highly mad about that. You got so many black men that's in the comments that's agreeing with her. And I too agree with her. Like, why? How could I not? Why would I sit there and not agree with another black woman about her black sons being with a black daughter? My bad, a black woman. Do you know how many black women that she is saving her sons from? I mean, one of her kids probably going to be piss poor ass fathers. Spoiled little brats, complainers, crybabies, dusties who think they can get their way, who really wear cups instead of tampons. Insecure, jealous, unhealed, hinged, bum broke men. Fatherless children raising fatherless child. Men that just got out of prison who is dusty ain't shit. Heartbreakers, sperm donors, woman beater, narcissistic ass men. I don't really see nothing wrong with what she says. She's protecting your children, your black daughters. So if she want her sons to date outside of their race or the color of their skin, then so be it. You guys should be happy. It's nothing to fucking be upset about.